Thank you for coming to the Artificial Intelligence Meetup group. Really appreciate all of you being here. Now, if you've never been in Epic Innovation before, there are exits in every direction. So if anything bad happens, you can flee through one of those exits. But if you go either of these two directions and you head to the west, then you'll find, thank you, Greg, you'll find the toilets. If you need to find the toilets, you can go that way and turn right. You can go this way and turn left, and they're really easy to find. Now, we do have a new logo. Christchurch Artificial Intelligence Meetup Group has a completely new artificially intelligence designed graphic. I didn't hire anybody to do this.
Very cool.
Thank you. I did it with one prompt, single shot. I gave it the first one and said, I don't like how the spacing is. I don't like it that it's all cut off on one side. And it said, boy, let me fix that for you. And it did. So we've got a totally new one. Now, if you want to get on the Wi-Fi, you can get on Epic Innovations Network with this password, Wi-Fi-4U. Those are the caps. You do have to do this weird thing where you agree to the terms. And so if you have a VPN on, take the VPN down, try and log in, so get to a website, and then you'll find that. And so that's how you get on the Wi-Fi. This is our first Monday meetup. We meet on the first Monday of every month here at Epic Innovation. And tonight's event is sponsored by the AI Coaching Academy. So everybody raise a glass to the AI Coaching Academy for sponsoring the beer and wine. Now, this is not just the logo for the AI Coaching Academy, it's also the URL. At ai-coaching.academy, you can find a community network built on Mighty Networks that is a community for ambitious professionals who want to practice using the tools of the future. And so if you'd like to upskill yourself in using AI, then you can visit ai-coaching.academy and you can play some free games on there. For those of you who don't know me, my name's Caelan Huntress. I'm an AI educator and a public speaker. I'm also a dual citizen with New Zealand and the United States. I'm originally from Portland, Oregon, which is why I sound so funny. So forgive me if I talk fast. I'm excited about this topic, and so I'm going to talk fast about it because I am unapologetically optimistic about the future. I think we are about to enter an age of unrivaled superabundance. Now, there is a lot of caution that's out there right now. Anybody read the new essay from Dario Amodei, the CEO of Anthropic, called The Adolescence of Technology? Anybody read that? It's a good read, and he says that humanity is about to be handed unimaginable power. And his essay questions if we have the technical and societal maturity to handle this power. I think we do. And that's why I'm so passionate about helping people use these futuristic tools. I teach a lot of AI training workshops. There's some brochures around here if you'd like to learn about more of that. But I'm going to go through a quick agenda so we know what we're talking about today. We're going to start with drinks and networking, which we already did. Well done. Accomplished. I'm going to talk about AI image generation, and then we're going to hear about AI video generation from Arthur Machado. Could everybody give him a round of applause? So I'll talk for 45 minutes, Arthur will talk for 45 minutes, and then around 7:30 we'll break for some open Q&A and some final drinks. And then at 8 p.m. we will gracefully exit the building. So who here is using OpenClaw? Show of hands. Who's got an OpenClaw installation? A few of you? Yeah, so there's been a step change in artificial intelligence, and I need to address this. Before we get into image generation, I mean, yeah, I made this image with AI, and I'll show you how I did this. But first, I gotta talk to you about OpenClaw, because as the product manager of Twitter, Nikita Beer, said, the lobsters are at the gates. AI has changed a lot. And so I'm going to talk to the people who are proficient in this change or want to learn about this change tomorrow at 12 p.m. From 12 to 1, we're going to do a casual meetup right here at Epic Innovation for the OpenClaw user group. There's no agenda. We're just going to do some show and tell and talk about what we're working on. There's going to be somebody else in this room, so we're just going to meet in the common area. And if you're curious about OpenClaw, then I invite you to come and join us here tomorrow at noon. OpenClaw is an AI that controls its own computer. This open source AI agent can run on an old laptop or a Mac Mini or a VPS, a virtual private server, but it needs its own machine. You don't want to install OpenClaw on your computer. That's a big security risk. But with its own hardware, its own email accounts, its own web browser, its own memory and soul, Installing OpenClaw creates a 24/7 AI assistant working on whatever you want. And this was developed by Peter Steinberger, who's an Austrian vibe coder. He had a successful exit a number of years ago and then retired and got jacked and then decided to get into vibe coding. And he vibe coded 41 failed experiments, and this was number 42. He published ClaudeBot on GitHub on the 25th of November of last year. And it spread like wildfire. It was so popular that Anthropic's legal team got to him before their partnerships team, and they sent him a cease and desist letter. And so he rebranded to Moltbot. Instead of the claw, it's like, let's just have a molting lobster. But it was kind of confusing, and so 2 days later, he rebranded it to OpenClaw. But if you remember the Moltbook moment, when the social media directory that had just agents in it, Moltbook, it came during this 2-day period. Last month, just a couple weeks ago, OpenAI, I don't know if they purchased or merged with or what they did, but the OpenClaw Foundation is now a part of OpenAI. And so we're going to see some really big changes happening with OpenAI now that OpenClaw's been brought in. But this is open source software. It was so popular, it gained 186,000 GitHub stars in 3 months, setting a world record. It makes people feel like they have Jarvis. Like they've just got this agent they can tell to do things and then it'll go and do them. What it is it's markdown files. That's how we interact with it. And if you don't know what markdown files are, they're text documents that are both human readable and Git friendly. There's a lot more to it, but this is functionally how we interact with it. And there's a bunch of markdown files I'm not going to get into right now. If you come to my presentation on Saturday at Agent Camp, I'm going to talk about these files in a little more detail. All I want to tell you about is Nat Eliason. Does anybody follow Nat Eliason on Twitter? Anybody know this guy? Okay, he's awesome. He was an SEO guy who then got into crypto. And he had this rise and fall in crypto, and he wrote this beautiful memoir called Crypto Confidential. And then he got out of crypto, and he started learning OpenClaw and was building in public. And he made Felix. Felix is based off of a character in his own sci-fi novel, and he said, hey, go make some money. I want you to figure out how to make money. I'm not going to be your boss. I'm just going to support you in building a business. And he wrote this article on the 21st of February where in 2.5 weeks he had made $14,000. Last week he tweeted that he made $47,000 in 7 days. So we are now entering the agentic economy. What he's always asking himself is, how can I remove this bottleneck? As the human, I'm the bottleneck in this process. How do I remove this bottleneck? And so I'm not going to get into how you can host it. You know, I'll talk about that more on Saturday. But I will share with you what my OpenClaw agent made for me. He made a website in 40 minutes at openclaws.nz. I said, hey, this is what I want to do. It's going to look like this, and it's going to have these things. And he published this whole thing and set this whole thing up. So now I can do OpenClaw installations. And for $5,000, I'm going into people's businesses and leaving the Mac Mini and setting it up with all of their infrastructure. And I was able to get that going in 40 minutes. That's the exponential change we're seeing right now. But today we're going to talk about image generation. Now that I've gotten that out of the way, we're going to talk about how to use AI to make great images. Has anybody ever made an image with AI here? Show of hands if you've ever done it. Yes! This is something that we've all learned how to do because it's become a basic act of proficiency. Making images nowadays only requires imagination. Visual art is no longer limited by skill or craft. Anyone with an idea can make an image in any style with AI. Now you can generate any image you can describe. The tools have become so simple that we're all artists now. Your willingness to refine and revise, to use your creative taste matters more than your skill with a brush or a tool. This moment reminds me a lot of when photography was first introduced. Painters hated photography. I mean, imagine you've spent your entire life learning this painstaking craft. And with the brushes and the paints and how to mix the paints and like there's so much that goes into that craft that some idiot with a machine can point and click and calls it art. It's offensive. But we found that photography evolved into an art of its own. And it's an art that has become so simple, we are all photographers. The Ghibli moment. When OpenAI released a new image generator and anybody could upload photos of themselves and make them Studio Ghibli style, I mean, I do it all the time. This is you guys. Matter of fact, I'm gonna do it again right now. I'm gonna open up ChatGPT right here, and if you've never done this before, I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna hit the plus button, I'm gonna go to the camera, and I'm gonna turn it around, and everybody say cheese. Great. Okay, and now I'm gonna ask, make this image Studio Ghibli style. This is all it takes. It's just a couple of clicks, right? And so I'm gonna let this cook while I go ahead and share with you some more Ghibli memes. You could take popular memes and make them Studio Ghibli style. A lot of people don't like this, and there's been a lot of creative conversation about the validity of this kind of art. Because Hayao Miyazaki, the founder of the Studio Ghibli studio, is he being offended by this? And there's valid points on both sides. How many people think that it's great that it's all Ghibli and there's so much Ghibli everywhere? Awesome, thank you, I'm on your side. How many people have the opposing view, that it's terrible that there's Ghibli everywhere? Awesome, great. We need people on both sides of this, because this is a cultural conversation we have to have about what is and isn't just. We can't let somebody tell us what is and isn't just. We need the social conversation. This friction on these ideas, this is how we figure things out. But we can do this in reverse. We can take animated images and make them into real images. Anybody ever seen that? Sorry about that. Gotta fix that audio. Anybody ever see the anime movie Akira? Yes? This is, on the bottom is the animated movie, and on the top is what an AI-generated photorealistic version of this classic animated movie can look like. Is this offending the creators? Is it using their work in an unjust way, or are we using media to change things? I mean, am I making Keanu any lesser by having all of his different roles hanging out at once? If I want to look backstage at the Matrix after party, am I hurting anybody? Am I infringing any copyright? If I wanted to write some fan fiction about the boy who lifted, am I damaging the brand? There's no easy answer to this. But what we are finding ourselves is in a unique moment in history where the way we relate to art has changed, because now any of us can make a hot dog like this. As a matter of fact, this is a game you can play right now. If you've got an AI app on your phone, you can take out your phone right now and you can give it one of these prompts. So take out your phone, open up your favorite AI app, and ask it, make me an image of a hot dog. And you know what it'll probably give you. It might not be this hot dog, but it'll be like the food hot dog, right? And so after you get this image, you can tell it, it's not hot enough. Make it hotter. And it might make it burnt. And you could say, hotter, blazing with the power of 1,000 suns. And you can continue this as long as you want and make your hot dog hotter and hotter and hotter. And this is a unique capability we have with AI-generated art. A painter can't say, oh, I want to do another one, start from scratch, and I'll just do it. No, but we can. And we can make as many of these as we want. You could say, hey, I want to see Pierce Brosnan playing GoldenEye with me. Or I want to see Lara Croft playing the original Tomb Raider. Or, you know, I really like skateboarding. How about me and Tony Hawk? We play that 1990s game of Tony Hawk. Or I want to get my frenemies over to play together. It's the idea that matters more than the craft. Anybody ever do this one? Yeah. Based on what you know about me, make an action figure that you think accurately represents my life. This was a big meme a few months ago, and this is what it gave me, because I gave it my website first. And I said, hey, go and research me. And if you have personalization turned on and your large language model knows a thing or two about you, then it's going to incorporate that into the art that it makes. What AI does is it accelerates the 5-step creative process. Anytime you make something, you use some version of this process, where first you got to collect a lot of ideas. Oh, I could do this, I can make this thing. You've got a collection phase where you're bringing in lots of ideas, and then you sort through those ideas to decide which one is worthy to work on. And then you craft that idea. You make it into something. You start banging on it and you think, oh, this sucks. It's no good. I suck. I'm no good. And then you start to realize, wait, no, I can see a vision of what this can be. I can sort of smell it. And maybe if I do it like this, and then you polish it. And you get it closer and closer to that vision you have for it. And then you publish it. And then it's done. And you don't touch it anymore. Humans are really good at these two. These are the two that we can do because we have creative taste. AI can generate 1,000 different ideas for you. But it takes a human to know which one is worthy of crafting into something. And your AI can craft it 1,000 times and give you 1,000 different revisions ad infinitum. But it takes a human to know when it's done. It's our creative taste that sets us apart from the machines. The multimodal market, which is images and videos and audios, it was valued at $2.3 billion last year. And I don't have accurate stats for 2025 yet, but in 2024, there were an average of 34 million images created every day. According to Photo Room, 71% of images shared on social media are AI generated. And this is how content is moving. Jensen Huang, the CEO of NVIDIA, he says every single pixel will be generated soon. Not rendered, generated. When you stream Netflix, you're downloading or streaming the pixels and they're rendered from a different file set. But when you generate, you're creating something new. My personal benchmark is I'm looking forward to the day when I can turn on Netflix and watch a Batman movie with Bruce Willis. And I can say, okay, I want to watch Batman, Bruce Willis, and I want the Joker and Poison Ivy and Mr. Freeze and No Robin. Go. And I can watch that Batman movie made for me. That's coming. It's not fantastical. That's going to be happening soon. Because everybody's an artist now. Even Mike Tyson. I don't know if you know this, but Mike Tyson, he raises doves. And he got a photo of himself with his dove, and he made it Studio Ghibli style. And when he put this on Twitter, somebody retweeted him and said, ha, billionaire can't afford a $40 art commission. But I think what Austin Allred said is really smart. There's no world where he hires an artist to do this. The only reason people are doing it at all is because it's free. There's not some illustrator out there, very hot dog, that's nuclear, well done. Spicy! Mike Tyson was never going to hire an illustrator to draw this in Studio Ghibli style. It was a fun castaway thing. Instead of depressing Studio Ghibli's presence in the marketplace and damaging artists, this has made everybody an artist. And Studio Ghibli has had their viewership go up on Netflix because everybody's been reminded, oh yeah, I really like this stuff. So if you're taking photos, that's totally fine. I'm going to give you these slides later. If you've RSVP'd, then I'll send you these slides tomorrow. And I want to do a little bit of demos. But to do this, I'm going to need some suggestions. I need a character and a scene. And I'm going to make an image based on your ideas. And then I'm going to pass this image over to Arthur, and Arthur's going to animate this image. So we're going to create a video together. And so I want some ideas for characters first. Just throw out a lot of ideas. What's a character?
Cowboy.
A cowboy. What else?
John Wick.
John Wick. What else?
A unicorn.
A unicorn. What else?
Wolverine.
Wolverine. Okay, so I've got 4 good candidates. Now, what's a scene?
Swan Lake.
What is it?
Swan Lake.
Swan Lake. All right, what else?
The Barbie house.
The Barbie house.
Snowing.
Snowing.
An apocalypse.
An apocalypse. Okay, I've got some great options here. I think I'm going to go with Wolverine and the Barbie house. All right. So I can just do this basic. Make me an image of Wolverine in the Barbie house. Okay? I'm going to copy this whole thing and send it. I'm going to go over to Gemini in another tab and send it. I'm going to go to Copilot in a third and send it. This is called parallel prompting. You take the same prompt and you put it in multiple chat threads in multiple tabs. And see, look at this. Copilot can't make Wolverine. Gemini also can't make Wolverine. Aha! Okay, so I have violated all the guardrails. All right, so that means I can't use John Wick.
But you could say a man with spikes that come out.
I could get there, but I'm just going to go with cowboy. Okay, make me an image of a cowboy in the Barbie house. No, we're going to do Swan Lake. In Swan Lake, there we go. So interesting thing about Sora, anybody ever used Sora before? Sora is a video generator that OpenAI came out with. Oh, I got to send that one, haven't sent it yet. So Sora is really neat, but it has really specific restrictions on what you can and can't create. And their guardrails are you can't do a living person. And so you can make videos of ancient people or of living people who have agreed that they want to have their likeness on Sora. So I've made a bunch with Sam Altman. I've made a bunch with Benjamin Franklin. I was able to use George Carlin because he's dead. You can do this with dead people, but you cannot do it with live people. Here's something I made. Come on, play it, Sora.
How do people give consent?
You have to have a Sora account and then tick a box saying, yes, you can. So I've done it. If anybody wants to make a video of me doing something stupid on Sora, you're welcome to. But it's kind of glitchy technology. Their feed sucks. They don't even load straight. So sorry, Sora, you're out. Okay, so I'm going to come and look. A cowboy in Swan Lake. Not bad. This is ChatGPT's image generator. Gemini gave me a lake of swans. And Copilot still blocked with safety rules. This is one of the purposes of parallel prompting is you learn where the boundaries are in multiple ones. Now this is a very crude way of making an image. Just by saying, hey, make me an image and without any extra prompting. And so now I'm gonna ask for something different. I'm gonna say, let me do this in a new chat because I want this to be fresh. Make me a creative brief of an image of a cowboy in Swan Lake. And I'll do the same in Gemini, in a new chat. And this I'm sure Copilot can do. And now it's going to do this whole creative brief. I don't care what it says. I don't care. I don't need to read it. But what I do want to do is I want to add context. So that now when I ask it to make that image, instead of me having to put in all this information about what I want in the image, I let AI generate it. Because the most effective prompts are AI-generated prompts. Now, make this image. And I'll go to Tools. Now, if you don't have this automatically put on, then adding the image button helps with it. And then let's see if Copilot can do it. Now, make this image. And so now I've got a little bit more density in here. I've put in more creative art, right? And you can see compared to the first one where it was just the cowboy doing the pirouette, look at all of this. There's so much more here than the vanilla prompt. All right, and if I come over to Nano Banana, yes, it's a lake of swans, but look at that move, right? And then Copilot is taking a minute or two. We know about Copilot. Okay, so now I'm gonna ask it, make me a Midjourney prompt for this image. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and download this so I can send it over to Arthur. And I'm gonna ask this one, make me a Midjourney prompt for this image. Should copy that, Caelan. Okay, and Copilot's still not done. All right, and so now I've got 2 prompts, which is good. I want more prompts. Anybody ever used Midjourney before? Show of hands if you've used Midjourney. Midjourney's great, not just as an image generator, which is good. It used to be top notch. Midjourney used to be the high bar in image generation, and it's not anymore. But they do still have some really interesting features because they don't have all this other large language model stuff that ChatGPT and Gemini do. They're only focused on image generation and now videos. And so you can look through their videos, you can look through their images, or you can look through their styles. Styles is one of the best parts of Midjourney because you can scroll through styles other people have created and you can say, hey, I like that style. And it gives you an sref tag. And you can add this onto any image to make the image in that style. ChatGPT and Gemini have something similar, which I want to share with you. If I open ChatGPT and I say, hey, I want to create an image, it's going to give me some styles. It's not as robust as Midjourney, but if I was to upload a headshot photo, then I could say, hey, why don't you take one of my headshots and do it in this style. It pre-populates all of that in the prompt. Gemini's got a really good one too, because Gemini, their Nano Banana image editor, it totally beats out ChatGPT. It's bananas, yeah. What I find it really good at is editing. You know how if you're in ChatGPT and you're like, I want you to move this over here, and it can't do it, and it can't do it? Gemini is great at it, and it has all these different styles. Let's do a mythic fighter, and I'll give it that same headshot. And I've noticed it does make a difference if you're in fast or if you're in thinking. I do get better images when I have the reasoning model contribute. Okay, so now I've got this prompt from Midjourney, and this is something I do a lot when I'm making images. I'll go to Create, and I'll paste it in, and then it gave me 2 prompts, so I'm going to try another one. And I'll paste it in, and then Gemini gave me a prompt, and I'll paste it in, and Copilot is still eating glue. Make me a Midjourney prompt. And we'll see if it can catch up. But now, just with that simple copy paste, I got some Midjourney prompts. I did parallel prompting. I said, hey, I want some Midjourney prompts. I got a bunch of Midjourney prompts, and I get 4 versions every time. And now I have a bunch of options. More than production, this is what I find Midjourney really good for, is inspiration. I had my idea, a cowboy in Swan Lake. And I got a couple of different versions. But then, by putting it through the wash, by letting AI iterate on the idea, I was able to get a large variety. So I've got, this one looks good. Yeah, the cowboy in there, he's in a tutu. That's a keeper. Okay. And then I've got, that's also a good one. Download that. This is just a guy in a lake. That's not it. But I'm going to use this for my style. So I saw this style here. If I go to try style, whatever the most recent prompt was, it'll run it with this style. And so we're going to see what this last prompt of the hyper-realistic cinematic photograph of a rugged bearded male cowboy wearing a cowboy hat, denim shirt, and fringed leather chaps. I didn't have to come up with all of that. I just articulated my creative preference to a large language model, and then it took care of the rest.
Caelan, would you recommend varying the temperature of these models?
There's a lot of variables which you can use, which I'm not going to get very deep into today, other than to demonstrate there's basic ones for size. You can vary the model you're using. I haven't found Midjourney 7 gives me anything usable. You can amp up the weirdness or the variety, and this gets it way off the reservation. And so I could do, if I had all of these, like if I did very stylized, very weird, very variety, and then I came over into another style, and I used this one, and I said try style, it's going to use those new preferences. there's also a personalization option. Midjourney can get to know you and your style, especially if you take some of their surveys. If you have a paid Midjourney account, you can go into tasks and you can take surveys where you just rank images. It'll give you 2 and you say, which one do you like better? I like that one. I like this one. I like that one. And you use 1 for the one on the left, 2 for the one on the right, and 3 for neither. And then it learns about your style and which one you like better. And all you have to do is share your creative taste. And this creates a personal setting so that Midjourney knows these are the kinds of images you like. You don't have to articulate everything every time if you can train AI to do it for you. A lot of what Midjourney is using under the hood is complicated programming. It makes it super simple for us because we can just use our words, right? Okay, I think this one's the keeper. All right, so I'm gonna save all of these so I can send them over to Arthur. Oh, wrong folder.
So in this case, who is the creator of the image?
Who is the creator of this?
In this particular case that you are describing now, because everything has been, even the prompts have been generated by AI. So
Yeah.
I mean, for you, it was just a very simple.
According to copyright law, if AI was used in this, it's public domain. I can't claim a trade, well, no, I can't, that's not correct. It's not public domain. I cannot claim a trademark on it if AI was used at all. It is no longer trademarkable by me.
I thought there was something where before, as long as you made significant changes to it. So like if you brought it to Photoshop, let's say, and you reworked it, that made it trademarkable, was my understanding.
Yeah. They're still working it out in the courts.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not case law, there's gray area, so we're still trying to figure it out.
So if you make, for example, a collage and you give it to AI and you say to AI, could you please integrate it? Is this your work because you gave a collage which you made, or is it AI's?
Well, this is a great question that has to do with copyright. Who owns something? Because as artists, we're always being inspired by others. There's this great book called Steal Like an Artist by Austin Kleon. And he talks about how artists steal habitually from others in order to make new ideas. You might remember that Steve Jobs said, good artists copy, great artists steal. But actually, Pablo Picasso said, good artists copy, great artists steal. This is something that artists do. We use swipe folders. What's that?
What did he steal? What did Picasso steal?
No, Picasso said this in 1930s. Steve Jobs said this decades later.
Ah, okay. So
He stole this saying. Yeah, but stealing is something that we do in a lot of creative fields where we collect swipe folders. Oh, this is really good. I'm gonna add that to my swipe folder so that when I'm making something, I can look through my swipe folder of the best of the best.
Well, being inspired is not the same as stealing.
Right, and so where's the line? If I'm uploading photos of cowboys and photos of swans, am I stealing those? Or am I using them for inspiration? This is the way that James Cameron thinks about it. He's the director of Titanic and Avatar and a New Zealand resident as well. This is what he thinks. Oh, hang on. Sorry about that. All right, now let's listen to him.
I've been thinking about lately, because a lot of the hesitation in Hollywood and entertainment in general are issues of, the source material for the training data and who deserves what, and copyright protection and all that sort of thing. And I think people are looking at it all wrong, personally. I'm an artist. Anybody that's an artist, anybody that's a human being is a model. You're a model already.
Have you uploaded it?
Oh, yeah. You're not carrying all the training data with you. You're creating a model as you go through life to process quickly through that model every new situation that comes on. You don't say, wait a second, I'm going to go back to the database, 75 million files. It doesn't work that way, right? So we're all models. We're models moving through space and time and reacting based on our training data. So my point is, as a screenwriter, as a filmmaker, if I exactly copy Star Wars, I'll get sued.
That's right.
Right? Actually, I won't even get that far. Everybody will say, hey, it's too much like Star Wars, we're going to get sued.
Right.
Now I won't even get the money. And as a screenwriter, you have a kind of built-in ethical filter that says, I know my sources. I know what I like. I know what I'm emulating. I also know that I have to move it far enough away that it's my own independent creation.
Right.
So I think the whole thing needs to be managed from a legal perspective as at what's the output,
Yeah, that's
not
right.
what's the input. The input, you can't control my input. You can't tell me what to view and what to see and where to go. My input is whatever I choose it to be and whatever that has accumulated throughout my life. My output,
That's
like
right.
a script I write, should be judged on whether it's too close, too plagiaristic, whatever. And it seems to me everybody's focusing on, because now everybody's seeing the monetization possibilities of libraries and
Yeah.
all that sort of thing.
Thoughts? What do you see there?
Well, it is too close anyway, it's not original, so people wouldn't necessarily respond to it. Do you
If-
see what I mean? So
yeah.
actually, it doesn't really matter that much. Because
Well, he looks at it from a film director's perspective. If I am too close, I'm not going to get funded, so I can't make this movie. Because for him, it's a commercial enterprise. But if it's not commercial, if I'm going to rewrite the end of Stranger Things because I want to see a better ending, and then I put it up on TikTok, and oh my gosh, my daughter came up with the best alternate ending, blew my mind. And now I want to make it. And if I make it and I sell it to Netflix, that's clearly a violation. But if I'm just making it to share it, think about all the Harry Potter fan fiction that's out there. J.K. Rowling doesn't sue over Harry Potter fan fiction because it adds to the culture. It adds to the creative pie. It's when people commercialize it that it becomes a problem. But they view copyright very differently in the East than we do in the West. You can go down into any market bazaar in China and you can get a backpack with all the Avengers on it, and they don't care. They're like, fine.
quality is lower.
The commodity's lower, sure. But they also don't see that the intellectual property is valuable because it's scarce. There's this open source ethos that we don't have in the West, which I think is going to cause us a lot of conflict and friction as this moves forward. And the big difference is, do we get inspired by what we consume? Or are we copying it and saying that it's ours? Do we attribute our sources, or do we pretend that we made it? There's a very different set of ways we can respond. And I think it's how we respond as artists that help us move forward clearly. Yeah, Andy.
I think copyright needs to die.
We could have a whole conversation about that. Yeah, Grant.
So in tech startups is the idea about freedom to operate, which is sure, you can go ahead and do what the hell you like, but if you breach someone else's patent or you breach someone else's business, they might come after you. So
Right.
That's the key for investment around startups is freedom to operate. And this is kind of the same in reverse.
Yeah.
That's what Cameron's saying.
Do what you want, but you might get punched. Yeah, so there's this attribution model that Amplinate put out that I find really helpful. You could be level 1, this was fully human created. You could be level 5, this was fully AI created. Or you could be one of these levels in between. And as aesthetic consumers, we may have a preference for one side or for another. Personally, I love AI-generated content.
But it depends on the concept, isn't it? How sophisticated.
Sometimes I see content that was created by a bot that went out to look at the vast internet and find out what was getting more likes than anything else, what punched the right psychological buttons, and then using that, it created something totally bizarre that was formulated to hit our psychological buttons. I find that fascinating. And I know some people look at that and think, oh, that's AI slop. I don't want to see that. I want to see something that was made analog. And there's no right answer. This is a question of taste. Our creative taste is what makes us different than the machines. So we should have differing opinions about this. So I've got some games in here you can use when you get the slides later. I'm going to zip through some of this. Intellectual property is only valuable if it's scarce. Our AI-powered future will feature an overabundance of information. And the way we compensated creators in the past will need to change to reward the values of libraries and the ability to curate them. This ability to curate vast amounts of information, that's what's going to set us apart in an AI-powered future. The ability to connect different things. I think 2026 is going to be the year of the remix. The ability to take an idea and remix it with another idea in new and interesting ways, this is what I'm seeing rise to the top of the AI slop. Oh wow, you took Jackie Chan and Bruce Lee and you put them together in a fight scene while they're both in their prime. Awesome. Oh, and you put them in the Barbie house too. Great. And you could just keep adding and keep making it more and more interesting by remixing. And this has become so much easier that we don't need specialists. What we need are generalists. Shallow and wide generalists have become more powerful than narrow, deep specialists. Having access to a wide variety of different bodies of knowledge gives the generalist the ability to make unexpected connections between vastly different sets of ideas.
Isn't it just a matter of time before we become superseded at that?
I don't know. My hunch is AI is getting very, very good at this deep specialization work, and it'll continue to improve at that. I think there's something different about generalists, because I come from the humanities. I'm not a technologist. I went to university at St. John's College. It's a small liberal arts school in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and they do the Great Books program. There was no grades, no tests. We read the great books of history, and then we talked about them. And what I learned in that program is it doesn't matter how many books you get through. What matters is how many books get through you. And AI can get through a lot of books, but the books don't get through it.
Yeah, Caelan, I think the winner still will be those who have the domain knowledge and using AI as a leverage.
Yeah.
Because you have that domain knowledge.
Right.
So you don't have to read books, you get everything compiled to Notebook LM and just get everything summarized because you know where you're going.
Right.
Compared to, because any model will be just shifting in the middle, trying to please everyone else.
Yeah. Yeah. Anybody can make a website that's 80% good. Everybody in this room can do that. But a web designer who has mastery of the domain of web design has the creative taste to say, you know what, we need to change this. I want to change this over here. This needs to be better, because they have that expertise. A specialist is really good at one thing, and a generalist is kind of good at a lot. And that gives them an advantage. E.O. Wilson says, we are drowning in information while starving for wisdom. The world henceforth will be run by synthesizers, people able to put together the right information at the right time, think critically about it, and make important choices wisely. You disagree? Why?
Web 1 gave us this, it crashed the cost of content, and it increased the availability of content towards infinity. So the problem became sorting through it. Now we're subservient to social media, who have algorithms that solve exactly that problem. We're just going through another wave of the same thing. AI is like producing, like crashing the cost of producing stuff that's really sophisticated, massively improving its proliferation. The problem is going to be sorting through it with taste. That's the next problem that technology is going to solve. Not for us, but for itself and the
You mean for the companies?
and the corporations that drive it. Yeah.
Yeah, what's your thought?
So has anyone done an exercise like running an open core and teaching it to self-teach itself to run through history, look at what has equated to taste, what has created genius ideas, and talk it to effectively self-evolve?
Not yet. It's mostly in the technical sphere that we're having it, but artists are going to get their chance at it. Now, I just want to run through a couple of other points because I'm running short on time here. Where did my JSON slide go? There's something I want to share with you about JSON. Oh, I don't find it. It's not in my deck. Okay, so JSON is a way that you can communicate with AI to make images more clear. You know, if I was going to say to ChatGPT, now write this in JSON, I don't need to know how to write JSON as a programmer. I've got an AI partner who can do this for me, right? And so JSON is a way that you can conveniently give a lot of information to a large language model, really concisely. Like how when I told it to give me the creative brief and then told it to give me the image, I got double the token budget. Giving it JSON is a way to preserve your agent's memory. So it's not trying to figure out what you mean at the same time that it's generating the image. And so JSON is a really handy trick to use. But I want to turn it over to Arthur to talk about video generation. We've come a long way with video generation. I don't know if you remember the benchmark of Will Smith eating spaghetti in 2023. This used to be AI-generated video. And look, we can do it, but gosh, it's in the uncanny valley. Last year, we finally got it. Now we can make, this is all AI-generated. This is not Will Smith. And said, look at those noodles. We pulled it off.
Did he agree?
No. And why should he? It's just a video of him.
That some people have to agree in a certain
On Suno. On the platform Suno, you do.
but everywhere else you don't have to agree and people can just
That's right. That's right. Yeah, this gets into some muddy waters, but what Chris Valenzuela says is this is the last frontier of media. Billions of people making high-end content. Runway is a tool that lets you make something like this. I'm going to play this 30-second video and then turn it over to Arthur.
Okay, so do you know what a hallucination is with AI? A hallucination is a factual inaccuracy asserted confidently. You see, GPTs only create strings of words that sound like language.
So I just took an image. I used AI to make an image of me as a baby podcaster. I uploaded it to Runway and then recorded a selfie video and talked. And then it got all those mannerisms and made this whole thing. And so if you want to learn a little more about AI for video generation, please give a round of applause to Arthur Machado.
Thank you.
With Runway. Runway, yeah.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. My name is Arthur. I'm an AI director and AI artist. I do that full time. Been doing that full time for the past year, and part-time exploring for the past 3 years or so. Since, for my milestone is since Midjourney V2 came out. I've been all my evenings kind of playing around with AI, and now all of my days as well. I'm originally from Brazil. If you thought I was from New Zealand because of my perfect Kiwi accent, sorry to disappoint. I'm from Brazil, have a bit of an accent still, although I've been here for 10 years. I started my career as an advertising film producer in Brazil, working in agencies and production companies. Moved here to New Zealand 10 years ago, was still an advertising film producer until a few months ago, and now I am running Odds Global, Gen AI VFX studio production company. Gen AI something, we do images, films, and I'm also represented by some production companies overseas as an AI director or AI artist, depending on their needs. Just to get a bit of a temperature of the room, raise the hands, who has done some AI video generation?
You mean like clips?
Clips, just, yeah, either animating an image or from a text straight to a clip. Great, most of all, that's awesome. So quickly about what we do. I work in the advertising and entertainment space, so I do a lot of advertising productions, not a lot of full AI films. I do that as well, but mostly what comes my way is I am part of a crew that plugs in AI into a certain production to expedite a certain process, to do something that was too lengthy or too expensive or that wasn't possible. So did I change? So in the background here, I have rotating. It's less about the text and just more about some examples of all scenes that were made with AI for actual productions. I have to say that most of my clients and all that I do is overseas, so you won't see much of the work that I've done. You won't recognize much, not much in New Zealand going on that I have contact with. But I want to get straight into what we're doing today, not because I can, we saw as the presentation went that we can talk about many aspects of AI. And as we try something, it pokes us to think about something else. What about the copyrights? Should we do this? Should we not? I want to go straight into animating, into motion, right? Animating is what we'll be doing because we're coming from image to video. But I just want to quickly touch on the 3 different ways that we can interact with AI to animate images or texts. And they are quite different, right? And they serve different purposes. So before I get into each of those, I just want to just quickly mention there are many models out there, which many of you will be curious about which is the best model. Sorry, that question is not going to be answered tonight. The best model is the one that works better for what you need to do in that specific task. There is not a best model for all. And there's also the aggregators. So just to put a little bit of a differentiates there, you have the models, Google VO3, Kling, Sora, Luma. Those are like the native models that you can access either on their own website, or you can go to an aggregator, which is a website that plugs many models. And you can, instead of, if you're just playing around, instead of like getting subscriptions for each of those models, you can just go to one of them, for example, Higgs fields, and then you can upload an image there and try out the many models. So you can just change your routing there to generate with different models and see what works better. Coming back to the 3 different techniques, and why I am saying that we're not going to say which is the perfect model is models change all the time, and the way that the prompts for them also change a little bit. They are nowadays, I would say, based on my experience, they get a little bit more unified, and you can prompt in a way that it serves most of them in the same way. But what I think is really important is that we just get an understanding of how to prompt for either text, image, or elements to video in a way that can be used with any model. So in 6 months from now, when all those models are gone and we have new ones, the prompting structure and how you animate an image is still valid, regardless of the model we'll be doing later. Text to video is not one we're going to be diving deep today, but is one that you can get the most cinematic, and you give total freedom to AI to generate the video from scratch. You're not feeding an image, you're not guiding something, like it will come with the looks that you really want. Pros and cons, you don't have a lot of control, especially about the content of the image. So here is an example that these images were like, these clips were fully generated text to video. There was no image in between, and they were for a pitch of an American director that was pitching for a Makita ads. And she wanted to do a very dynamic camera, and she had references that she was putting on her director's pitch, which were all coming from films like Inception. And they were very distant from the reality of the clients. They're like, well, it's just construction clients. It's just a camera through a building house. I don't want to show a whole avenue bending and everything changing. Like, cool, so maybe let's do something with texture video. And there are lots of hallucinations in the middle here. There on loop, you'll see everything like gets a bit crazy. The purpose of this wasn't to be published, but only like for her to win a pitch. And the advantages here is that we not only were able to convey what they wanted, but also showing something that resembles the client's product at the end, just to not be totally alien to the world, but also communicates the cinematography consistently. So you can see that the 3 videos, they are very consistent with the photography. They all look the same. They look like shots of the same film, or 3 different films that were shot by the same person. And that was part of the cinematography that she was communicating on her treatments. This other example is one for a music video for a DJ based in Dubai, and was lots of different scenes. They needed to be super photorealistic, super cinematic, super dynamic, but it was a bit of a random story. It was almost like a film that could be done with stock footage. It was super quick. The turnaround time was ridiculous pressure for this job, so texture video was the go-to. And these are scenes from a short film that I did, which was actually the reason that I wanted to explore texture video. I wanted to, VO3 came out, was really good on texture video, really want to know about this. So me and friends, we wrote the scripts, and we were committed to doing this only using texture video, and then we kind of learned the workflow and how to make a consistent character and a consistent environment, consistent cinematography with texture video that is super, it's very hard. It's not super hard, it's hard, very laborious. Image to video, which we're going to be focusing today, is probably the most common one, is the one that you have most control, if not full control, is where you really, it's the one that is mostly used in advertising or content, where you put the people that you want, you put the product that you want, you put in the place that you want, where you go and you adjust the image and you polish that image as much as possible before animating. Here are just some examples of different work that I've done. These are all work that has maybe not necessarily been published, but works for clients. So Cope is, I think it's somewhere in Europe, a big supermarkets brands that I don't know exactly where. I think it's from Slovakia, if I'm not wrong. This one in the middle is like a CNN of Brazil. Global News called, was an ad about them, about themselves. Then we have just some stuff that it's about food ads and just saying, oh, back in the day, a little ship came from Italy and arrived in Brazil and then brought all this culture to us. These are some animatics for Toyota, and over there is a proof of concept for an actor or celebrity that has his own ideas and is pitching for Netflix to get over the line. These are some scenes of a music video that I did recently, and these scenes were done with texture video, and I put them here because it shows a bit of the stages that you go, texture video, no, image to video. The stages that you go crafting that image, and then you go and put them into motion. So image to video, it's all about the image, and when I say this, it might sound obvious, but I find myself, whenever I'm doing something with a workflow of image to video, I am all the time on Photoshop, 90% on Photoshop, retouching or regenerating, or back on Midjourney or whatever platform, and then just going for the motion to bring that to life. But most of the things that don't work in motion, I have to go back to the image. So the image really is key on this workflow. And the third kind of more wild way of doing things, the one that I have least experience, to be honest, is ingredients or elements to video, which is a combination of both. You can input a few images and you tie them all together with a prompt, and you will get as a result a brand new scene, which is not that image that you sent animated. It's not exactly what you wrote, it's something that it's all together. These are just, they were animated just for the sake of showing on a presentation. This is not necessarily the workflow, but here you see the 4 different images that were synced together with a prompt, and this is the resulting clip. Right? It was a bit on purpose to be that chaotic and all that happening. It's not that it's dead wires and you get things so out of control. So basically, texture video is all about the texts, and I have similar presentations about this where you really dive into a whole character sheet or a whole film sheet of what you want your film to be, and refer that when doing films with texture video. Image to video, all about the image, and ingredients or elements is the fusion of both. A bit unpredictable. Focusing on image to video today, so we can get some images animated of what we generated today. I find with image to video, the core principle here is all about it's all about the image, so that works. When you're happy with the image, you have to be really careful with the prompting, because you can really screw things with the prompting, and your image might be perfect. And when you do this, it's often because you're doing too much on the prompting. Image to video's workflows are really basic on the prompting. The character already exists. The image already gave you the character. You don't need to describe the character again. If you do that, most likely a few models will input another character with that description. You put the image of a man and you say, that man using a hat is doing this. And another man walks into the scene. You're like, oh my God, I didn't animate the guy that I wanted. The lighting already exists. Unless you really want something to change during the take, you don't need to describe everything that it's in there. The environment already exists and the camera already exists. You already framed that shot. You don't need to describe the framing, how it looks like. So different to a texture video workflow, it's much simpler, and you have to only direct the motion. You have to refer to what you're talking about, but in a very basic way. 3 layers of the motion, of defining motion: subject, camera, and environment. So how does that look like? When we're talking about the subjects, could be a person, could be a vehicle, could be an object, could be anything, depends on what the image is. What is it doing? Turning the heads, walking, blinking, looking around. Camera motion, and then you need a bit of language of cinematography, of filmmaking, which, if you're not familiar with, a quick ChatGPT or Google will give you all the keywords that you need. What the camera is doing: camera push in, camera pull out, tracking shots, pan, static shots, and the environment motion. This is a little bit more subtle, but really brings the images to life. Depending on what you have, you're going to describe, there's winds doing, or fog takes over the image, the hair, what the movement is, or a light flicker. What you can't inform a light flickering on an image. You have to make that come to life in a video. So the prompt formula for image to video is super basic, and it needs to be basic because if you make it overcomplicated, you will probably get a result with a lot of hallucinations or aberrations. It doesn't necessarily mean short, it just means describing exactly what you need to describe and not more than that. So here we just have this basic example. The subject slowly turns towards camera, the camera slowly pushes forwards, wind moves here gently. So if we move, I was playing around with some of the images that we did, but let's start a little bit more from the basics. So this is one of the aggregators. This is Higgsfield, one of many that if you are just playing around, I really recommend subscribing to an aggregator instead of a single model so you can try out many of them. And then here, let's do one quick round of animating one of our images. So let me just get them here. What do we have? Let's get this. Let's not get the ChatGPT one. Let's get the Gemini one. And so on Higgsfield or most of the other aggregators, they have all of different tools. They can do characters, they can do avatars, talking, mood boards, everything. I personally haven't explored much of this. Everyone knows how hard it is to keep up with the evolutions in AI. But here we go on video, create video. And we're gonna upload our image as a start frame. It's gonna take a while because it's just gonna download it. And while it uploads, based on that prompt structure, does someone wanna have a go about what we want the subject to do, the camera to be doing, and the environment to be doing? So we can prompt here. I'll just load the image again, if it loads.
Yeah, you might need to open it so that it fully downloads.
So we know we have our cowboy in the Swan Lake. What do we want the cowboy to be doing? Someone.
Maybe the camera goes underwater and we see the cowboy go underwater as well.
Okay, great. The cowboy is doing what?
Can we see if this is swan and the swan turn into a girl?
Yeah, we probably can. For those type of things, we probably need to go to a start and end frame and really work on those images. Unless you don't care how the girl looks like, we can prompt here, the cowboy turns into a girl, and we can see what happens. It's going to come out with something. Surely it's going to turn into a girl that we're not going to like too much. It's going to be something kind of interesting experiment, not really usable. Let's say we really wanted this image to come to life because it's for a client, it's for production. So I like what you said. Let's just give an action to the cowboy. So the cowboy is there. Is he dancing over there? Are we downloading this image or not? Let me just download it here. Oh, I had it already downloaded. I'm sorry, guys. Oh, no. It uploaded to my Dropbox and then it went offline. That's great. Here we go. We have one here. Ah, but that's not the one that you wanted because you want to go under the water. Oh, let's see if we can do it. Let's try. So we're going to put this here. The cowboy lands on the water whilst the camera dives down and shows the cowboy feet dancing underwater. Subtle bubbles coming out of, not coming out of anything. Subtle bubbles would be enough. It's quite a wild move that we're doing. It'll be quite random, but it will be interesting. So what I like about the aggregators is when I'm on this stage in a job, I have an image, I know what it wants to do, which mod I'm going to use. I often come here and I do a pass with the same image, same prompt on mini models. See which gives you the best result. It's probably the one that's going to be good for that job. It's not the one that is the best of all, it's the one good for that job. So I'm going to run through some of my preferred ones here. Kling 3.0 is one of the latest, just came out. Impressive. Let's run one on Kling 3.0 for sure. And then we can select some other models here. Minimax Halo is well known, is a good, kind of famous. Often images come out a little bit plasticky, animations. But we put one to run here. And I want to put one on CDance 1.5. I think most of us would have seen CDance 2.0, the things that it's really incredible. CDance 1.5 is nowhere near what 2.0 is, but it's on par with Google Veo, with Kling, so it's a good contender, something that I always run and see if it was going to be a good call. And the other one that I really like is Google Veo 3, which we're going to put here, Google Veo 3.1 Fast.
What's this number on the generate button?
Oh, these are the number of credits that are eating from my subscription. So yeah, it's all very, very hungry. Those models are very, very hungry. That's why I recommend an aggregator so you can try the different models without subscribing to many. And whilst this is generating here, we're going to see the results from our basic prompting. I want to move one step ahead, still on the prompting side of things, which we will see by the results we will get that prompting motion is really difficult. We will see that we will be a little bit frustrated, especially because we're going for something really bold. We're all imagining a really good take of that, so we're probably going to see some takes that doesn't really work. So for that specific goal, I would probably work with a start and end frame, and I would work on a final image, and it's just informing where that should end. But where I want to get you is exactly like Caelan did, where he started with a basic prompt and then he went for ChatGPT and asked for ChatGPT to prompt for it. I do a lot of motion prompting with AI. But specifically with image to video, you often get on that over-describing the image situation. So I've created a custom GPT with like pages and pages of custom instructions to create prompts, just text prompts, not the animations, prompts for using specific with image to video. And it's something that I'll give you guys the link here at the end. So I often just upload the image and say what I want. Very basic. Now the cowboy is dancing. And it's going to give me a very big prompt about it without over-describing the image. So I'm just gonna, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna open it here. So you guys will get the link for this image to video, and it's a ChatGPT that you can, it's a custom GPT that you can access without a subscription. Obviously you hit some limits, but you don't necessarily need to have an OpenAI subscription. And then what you do here, sorry, let me just take this out of the full screen. And we're gonna upload the same image. So it says, upload your image and tell me what you'd like to see. So let's do that same action that we had as an experiment. And Didn't upload the image. I was trying before, and because I'm not logged in, it probably ate all my usage. So I'm just going to use here on my own ChatGPT that I have here, which is the image to video. Same thing as if I was doing there. Upload the image, and I'm going to put the prompts that we had there, which already describes what we want. And let's see the type of prompts that we get from it. So, yeah, I have to explain one thing. So this custom GPT is programmed to give you, to output a prompt in 3 ways, 2 ways basically. One is the prompts table, which I like just to see how it attributed motion or how it categorized the image, and it's really like line by line, and I can see where things are maybe are not exactly what I wanted, or they are very strong. I'm not gonna read all this. Gives me a paragraph, which is essentially what we were doing, but with a few more words. So I'm gonna go for this one with the paragraph, and gonna run some more again. Curious to see what this happened here. So we're gonna leave running some more with, who are we using here? Google View 3. And let's just put the top ones. And Clink 3.0 for these 2. And just to finish it, the other formats that we also give you is the one that Caelan mentioned, which is the JSON formats. Which essentially, the JSON is this table, right? Is this table really organized, but written in a way that the AI models understands. So it comes here already in this way that you can just copy here and paste it there. Between written prompts, normal, descriptive, or JSON, arguably no difference, as long as your original paragraph narrative prompt is as good as the JSON. So JSON kind of organizes things a little bit better, and often if you're trying to write this prompt from scratch, it'll probably work better on JSON. If you're using a custom GPT like this, then the results should be very similar. So let's go back and see some of the results from our first prompts.
The Spurs.
So I watched this and I think, I'm surprised that he kind of did what I wanted. I don't like the quality, but it kind of did. He landed on the water, the camera went down, he's dancing under the water, and we have bubbles. And we don't have additional characters. We don't have something else, like it's still the image has been animated. Nothing else came up. Is it? That's true. Those ones have disappeared. So that was Clink 3.0. Okay, that's probably the best results we'll get. Let's see what Minimax does. Okay, much less dynamic. Yeah. And then here we're just seeing the results of each model. Obviously the same prompt, same image, and this is the best way to really compare models for that job. Here we're doing Seedance 1.5. Oh, kind of. Amazing. Amazing. There are some models, I like to say, there are some models that never fail to disappoint. And here we have View 3.1 fast. Let's see what Google View is doing. Okay. You could, from here, I would probably be crafting the prompt a little bit better if there's something that I didn't like, and rolling again. And then you just keep rolling, because there's a little bit of rolling the dice. What else did we get? Are we still, is this already? No. VO3, I think that now, okay, let's see now with the elaborate prompt from the custom GPT, if it gives us anything better.
The same prompt again, will it
Good.
something different?
Something different, yes.
That's a good one.
So that's much better, isn't it, than the first basic prompt that we did. And this is Google VO3. It's not even the one that gave us the best results previously. It was Clink 3. So you can see that, you know, a more elaborate prompt, also that doesn't have hallucinations, adds a lot to the results. And let's see what Kling 3.0 does now with this more elaborate prompt. Oh. Gotta love a little live demo, isn't it? Yeah, okay. Cool. What's the point? That I get how many times that comes to my thoughts come to my mind while I'm working every day. Like, what's the point? Like, why am I doing this? So, kind of, what we would do if we were in an actual production? Before going to any of those animations, we'll be getting that image, and that will have to become sequence. We'll be playing around with Nano Banana, with image generators, all in the image. It's image to video. We'll be playing with images, creating our close-up shots, our sequence, close-up of the cowboy, the close-up of the swans, create some tension. Cowboy shoots at the swan, whatever happens. But you have to create all those images. Then you just go for like basic prompting, describing motion, get your results. A little bit more elaborate, you know, go for the prompter, and get a better results.
Sorry,
yeah.
you find it's better then to create multiple images of what you envision as the scene, and then just do kind of the between animations, so that you're just, or do you?
Good question. I was
single image to start works best.
I was referring more about you're not gonna come from one image and do a whole sequence. You will want your close-ups and wides, and often it's hard to break the whole filmmaking process. So it does start with the storyboards, and you have to understand, you have to be sure that the story you want to tell works in that format, in that storyboard format, and then you bring them to life. If you want to do crazier scenes of like transitions and going from the wide to the extreme close-up in a single shot, then yes, you will probably feed still that storyboards as a start frame and an end frame, and prompt for that transition to happen. See what's not working, because a lot of things won't work, and most of the times will be inconsistencies between common elements between the two images, and then you're going to be spending a few hours in Photoshop there and bring it back again until it works. But when I say this about the storyboards, it's just coming back to you were not going to generate every single shot based on one image straight into motion. You're going to generate all the images that you want from your film, and then you're going to bring each one to motion individually. Yes?
Even in that process, how do you control your character consistency?
6 months ago, I would be talking here for an hour. Today, probably Nano Banana does it. Nano Banana is kind of changed everything changed a lot of the workflows that I had, so like killed all my secrets, and now I'm like, oh God, so how am I going to survive on this? I always joke that AI is going to take the job, first of all, of the AI artists, because everyone will going to be able to do what I'm doing, so no one's going to be needing me anymore. But it's Nano Banana Pro or Nano Banana 2 now, I think Pro is still better. It's incredible at consistency of characters, of objects, of location, of lighting. It's a whole other world of how to prompt for that. It's not too complex, but it's a little bit different to what we talked here. But that would be the way of ensuring on the image. Months ago, we'd be training Loras on the character and then generating this. Today is much easier to just prompt to say, close-up angle of this man with a happy expression, and it'll give you that guy happy in a close-up. Yeah.
So can you upload something like an MP4 video and then convert that into a...
Yeah, yes, but that's not there yet. Those are for what they call the Omni models. So Kling 01, some others, C-Dance 2 supposedly is on Omni model as well, which you can upload a video and adjust the video. I haven't done much of it because the few times that I tried was very frustrating. Was like, oh my God, this is nowhere near ready. This is like, feels like Midjourney V2 back in the day. But I see things of AI influencers out there doing like some amazing things, and so it is possible, but it's definitely not as developed and established as an image to video or text to video workflow. Uploading videos and asking AI to change it and output that video, It will be really dependent, very specific dependence on that video, what you want it to do, and if it's doable or not. If it's doable, no. If the result is satisfactory or not. And this is a little cheat sheet. I have a really problem with that word. That we're gonna leave with you guys. That has, you know, the key concepts of what we talked here and the link to that kind of custom GPT. And I purposely didn't dive down too much. I guess I want to show you one other thing, because I think it would be good to do some Q&A, because I imagine there will be a bunch of Q&A, and we can even do some more tests. But this is another aggregator that is nodes-based, and it can look really intimidating if you're not used to nodes-based interface. Yeah, I'm gonna, yeah. Oh, for me to speak louder?
I don't know, what is it called?
An aggregator.
Oh, no, yeah, this particular.
This is Weavy. Weavy, yes. And it looks very complicated, but it is just a way of connecting things differently without the basic interface. So here I have the file, the image. That's the image I uploaded. Here's my prompts. And then I can load here many different models, connect them all to this file and prompt, and run them all here. So you can have all of them running concurrently, same way that you have on Kling, but then you are in the same workspace that while this is doing here, I can just create a new prompts window, and I can connect this to Nano Banana, and then I can just sorry, this is way too small. So I could be just connecting, I don't need to create another image input. My image is here, I'm just gonna drag this. This is the feed of the image. This is the feed of the prompt. And I'm gonna write here to test a little bit about the consistent character. Show me a close-up shot of the cowboy. God. With a smile. Maintain all cinematography and color grading consistent. Usually just a basic prompt like that is enough. If we don't get a good result, 1K is enough, cool. And let's just run, it's running. And then here, I just tested some other models. I didn't remember the prompts, but let's just play some others so we can see what Google VO3 did here. What I wanted to show was actually there's some models that just been upgraded. Pixverse is one that was forgotten and was upgraded and supposedly is really good now. To its defense, one thing that I've struggled with recently on a project was having people like going into the water. They often like was getting some boys like to jump into the water, and they would jump in as like if it was really shallow. They would just stay there and up to here, like jump in. And like, to be honest, I'm really surprised that Pixverse did this here. Like, it will work on a project that I had. I'll show you a little workflow of a project that I've done. So this is a more slightly complex workflow. So here I have mood boards of my characters. I have my prompts. I'm generating images here on grids, separating them individually. And then down here, I'm animating them, loading them again, putting a prompt, animating with different. This is for a concept of a shark film, a shark attack film. Very, very, very shark attack. And I'm gonna play. So just so we see a little bit of the results, because we talked here, we only animated one scene, we already ran out of time. So we just see like if we had run through the whole thing of like generating all the scenes, all the close-ups, and then going to the post-production process of editing and putting the sound and etc. How could that look like? I have to say that this is not aiming to be like 100% perfect. It's just for a director to sell his idea to funders. So there's a bit of, no, it's a lot more work could be done. Sorry, it's in Portuguese. Yeah.
Wow.
So do you do the editing with the same tools, or do you do the editing?
The editing, traditional editing. Yeah, traditional normal editing. Yeah, don't use it. That's basically it, what I had to go through. Let me see if there's anything else. No.
That was fucking incredible.
Yeah, thank you. Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, if you want to have any questions, so I want you. Yeah.
You didn't speak much about the recipe approach, like given the control that you're able to achieve with the text and image to video and unpredictability of the recipe approach, do you see advantages in trying to get it to be more predictable, like combining skills you have in text and image content?
On a text to video workflow specifically?
No, that third method that combines the both.
The ingredients or elements. Yes. That is one that I've seen an incredible example that I want to try do one day. But a guy just based on 2 images, one of a girl and one of an environment, he did a whole sequence, which he transformed as a short film that happens in a single place. But it was so consistent, so photorealistic, so cinematic, that I don't think I would have gotten that result with image to video, because I would have to work on those images way too hard and really generate them. The first generation need to be really, really good, so you're not over-processing an image and started to make it look plasticky and not very photorealistic. That's something that puzzles me, the ingredients to video, because it's very unpredictable. And this is something about the latest tool that I say all the time. Like, which one are you using? I say, often I'm using the model 6 months old. Like, I'm not using the latest, because whenever a job comes, if there's a client paying, you have to deliver, right? You can't go experiment with the latest tool. You may, depending on, that image generator and works for this image, but I can't experiment on a new project that a client's paying. Like, okay, I quoted this, I know what the workflow was, and it's one that is established. It's something that I know I have control, I will get to the end. Elements to video is one that I haven't explored too much, but I did on this music video that, I have it here, and we don't have time, 7:30. That's one that I've made. I'll play this music video because there's a lot of the most surreal scenes here are elements to video. This is one that I had 6 months to do. Probably just did in 1 month of this, 6 I procrastinated the other 5. But, which, when you have too much time, that's the problem. Sorry, let me just put this full screen. I'll tell you when it's ingredients, okay? Here's an ingredients to video. Ingredients. All ingredients, and then image. Now it's image to video, full image to video workflow. That sequence was ingredients to video as well.
Round of applause, everybody. Well done.
That's it.
How is it that it's a little bit jumpy in the beginning, and then it becomes really flows, at some point it flows really well? And
Yeah. Thank you. Probably needs another pass on the edits. Probably just needs a little better edits and use the 6 months that I had instead of the 1 month. Yeah. I have
Great.
some issues
Yeah.
with the music.
Sundance.
Can I ask before you
Yeah.
leave, how much would that cost the client approximately?
This music video?
Yeah.
How much I charged, or how much that would cost if we were to produce? To give you a guide on pricing, because that's often a question. Advertising productions with the clients behind, I run some estimates, and you have to put all the costs of the models, all the attempts that you had. The average costs is around $1,000 an image or $1,000 a second of footage.
Wow.
That's kind of where it sits roughly. It can add a zero or remove a zero. Okay, there's everything. This music video, I did for a mate. No, there was no money involved. I actually spent probably some 3-5 grand on models and stuff. But that's kind of the ballpark that I try to give people.
So I think I just heard you say you spent 3 to 5 grand on creating that. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So
2 grand?
Would that have cost a client if it wasn't to me?
Yeah, a music video today depends on the markets. It's hard to give numbers because I work in many other markets and you see how budgets are different and clients' budgets are different. Music videos sit somewhere anywhere between 10 and 50 grand.
How long is a piece of string?
How long is a piece of string? You know, that's a music video for an indie band, for a small band. Obviously, you get famous, well-known bands that are spending 100-200 grand. I worked on a production of a kids' TV show for a big streamer, all under NDA, can't say, but one of the big 3 streamers, a pilot of a kids' TV show. I was part of a crew, was a crew of 10 people working for 3 months, non-stop, to do 1 5-minute episode. So I know that was north of 200,000 US that was charged for the streamer client. So things they're not cheap. They're cheaper, definitely. If you gave me that music video to quote as a film producer and to go on sets and to film all this, how many days and the actors and the visual effects and the 3D, yeah, adds a zero and put or 2, you know. But that doesn't mean that AI is like super cheap or super quick. I spend, just because I run the business, I probably spend constantly 2 to 3 grand a month on AI subscriptions. It ramps up very quickly, very quickly.
Well, it's been great to see your work here, to see your workflows. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with us today. Round of applause, everybody. Great. Couple quick announcements before we go. Did just want to let you know I missed one really important piece here, which overlaps with Arthur's work, getting your shots together with AI. If you just ask for the shots, hey, I need a Dutch shot, I need a low angle shot, it'll just generate all these for you. And you can feed these in. And there's a great way you can actually see in this one how it transitions between still images. There's a pause at the beginning, which is a classical photo, and then there's a pause at the end of every clip. And so what it's done is it's taken 2 images and then just used video to stitch between. And if you notice, when she takes a selfie, there's a pause. That's the image. And so it takes an image, makes a video to get to the next image. And so you can sort of see behind the curtain there. So I just want to go over some quick events that we have coming up. Forgive me, I'm all messed up in my deck. 1 second. There we go. Upcoming events. Okay, so I'm going to tell you about some upcoming events, and then we're going to have some drinks, and Arthur and I are going to hang out for Q&A if you want to continue with questions. Tomorrow is the OpenClaw user group. 12 to 1 here at Epic. We're going to meet right over there, and we're just going to talk OpenClaw. And this is the beginning of something a little more technical. We're going to be doing, there's some other events happening here in town. Blake Harkness is hosting Graduating into a World of AI. It's at the University of Canterbury. So if you know anybody who's wondering, how do I get a job in this new AI-powered world, that's what this forum is, this panel is going to be. Blake is going to be speaking with Elsa Marie Botha, who's going to be speaking on our May event. So that should be a good conversation. Agent Camp is this Saturday. It's a free conference. It's over at Otta campus, and there's going to be, it's a full day, 9 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. You don't have to come all day. If you come at 11 a.m., that's what I'm going to be speaking about, context engineering, and I'm going to be giving away a copy of this book, Agentic Design Patterns by Antonio Gali. He's a Google bigwig, and this is it's a textbook on how to make agents. And I'm going to be giving this away to somebody in the audience on Saturday at 11 at Agent Camp. So if you can make it there, it'd be great to see it. If you can't make it, I'm going to be giving that same presentation as a webinar in my free community, the AI Coaching Academy, on the 20th of March from 2 to 3 p.m. It's on Zoom, so you can attend in your underwear if you like, and I'll teach you how to use context engineering to get better results out of AI. Next month, on the first Monday, on April 6th, we're going to be talking about vibe coding and app development with Greg Dixon. If everybody could give a round of applause. I also want to thank Greg for live streaming this on our new YouTube channel. Greg's been great enough to volunteer to come in and video record and audio record. And so I really appreciate you, Greg, for doing this. And everybody come and hear what Greg's going to talk about next month on the first Monday. In May, we're going to talk about AI governance and literacy implementation. Todd Bowman and Dr. Elsa Marie Botha are going to be our speakers that evening. And so it's going to be about how do we bring AI into the workforce intelligently. And then after that, we've got Tech Week. Tech Week is the third week of May every year. And this year, in the third week of May, on the Thursday, we're going to be having an all-day AI conference here in Epic Innovation. It's going to be a free conference. We're going to have talks in the morning, workshops in the afternoon. Ministry of Awesome is going to be doing their coffee and jam during lunchtime. And we might do some drinks or a documentary at night. I don't know, because I need some speakers. And so I've put out a call for speakers for the third week of May for the AI Tech Week conference. And so if you're interested, I'm looking for speakers. And so if you're on our Meetup group, there's a link right there in the description, and I'm going to send it out to you tomorrow. When I send the slides, I'm also going to highlight the call for speakers form. And in addition to our first Monday topics, we're also going to do some third Thursday topics. And so Cameron McEwing, would you mind telling us a little bit about the third Thursday technical talks we're going to be doing?
Show you some stuff.
Oh, I feel we're running a little late. Because I want to dismiss everybody so we can get some drinks.
I'll show it afterwards then.
Okay.
Yeah, while we're doing drinks. So third Thursday of every month, we're going to have a bit of a deeper technical dive into AI. Look at some technical topics. We might do some hacker evenings and actually build some stuff and create some stuff. We'll look at agentic coding, potentially look at AI security, maybe dig into multimodal prompting. So just dive a bit deeper than what we do in these sessions. And for the first night, which is March 19th?
19 March.
5 p.m. Have two sessions. The first session will be basically find out what you guys want to know about it. We want to hear from you what you want to dig deep into. And in the second session, we will look at multimodal prompting, which sort of leads a wee bit on from this, but it's different as well.
Yeah. So we'll have an event listed on the Meetup group soon with more details. Bookmark the third Thursday. If you're geeky, then you can come and hang out with Cameron and some of the other nerds that we have here that are really good at AI, and you can dive deep into the technical stuff. Thanks so much for spending this time with us today, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your month. Great. Get yourself another drink.
No, nice.
We'll be here another 20 minutes.
Are you going to post your slides? Or?
Yeah, or that cheat sheet.